Alright guys, so in this lesson we're going to be looking at different angles, relationships that exist in circles. There's like three different ways that I can have segments or lines intersect in a circle. In this case, I have two chords that are intersecting at a specific point. In this case, I have a point, I have a tangent and a secant intersecting each other, and then which is intersecting on. And then in this case, I have two secants that intersect each other. So let's look at that first relationship in which I have two chords or two secants that intersect each other, which I have in this case. In this case, I have angle 1 and angle 2. Angle 1 is going to be related to CAD and also BC. So if I wanted to find out what angle 1 is, the relationship that works out is that if I take half of these two sums of this arc plus this arc, it's going to equal angle 1. Now if I look at that other relationship, angle 2 is going to be based off of what AB is and what CD is. And it's going to be half of what both of those are. So let's just look at an example here. In this case, I want to find out what the angle AED is right here. So in this case, when I look at AED, I'm going to be looking at two different arcs in this case. Okay, I'm looking at AD and BC. And what I know is that the angle is going to be half of the sum of those two arcs. So if I look at like 45 and 109, I'm going to be adding those two together. So when I add those two together, I get 154. And if I look at half of that, you will get that angle measured to be 77 degrees. Now, in this case, I'm looking at angle STR, which is this one right here. That's going to be related to SR and PQ. And in that case, we're looking at the same relationship in which STR is going to equal half of those two angles added, or those two arcs added together. So like if I'm looking at 186 and 112, I'm adding those two together. I'm going to take half of 298, and half of 298 is 149. Okay. Now, I'm looking at YWV, which is looking at this one. Now, I don't really know much about either of those two arcs, but if I look at this, I do have those two other arcs, and those two other arcs are going to be related to XWV. So if I could just find out what this angle is, then I'm going to be able to find out what that one is. So what we're going to do is we're going to find out what this arc is, or that angle. So we're going to take half of 81 plus 43. And I'm looking at half of looks like it's going to be 124. So that case, it's going to look like it's going to be 62 degrees. So I know right now that this angle is 62. Now, if you guys remember, if I look at these angles, they are linear pairs, or they equal 180. So that means that this angle is going to be 118. So looking at this last one, and I'm going to have you guys try those other two. In this case, I know, I'm trying to find out what LK is. So in this case, I know the angle, and I know another arc. So to find out what LK is, we'll just make that X. We're going to say 1/2 of those two arcs added together, X and 74 added together, is going to equal whatever that angle is, which is 62. I'm going to get what around that 1/2 by just multiplying both sides by 2. So you're going to get X plus 74, and that's going to equal 124. And when I solve for X, you're going to get that angle, or that arc, to be 50 degrees. I'm going to ask you guys just to pause the video, and I'm going to ask you guys just to try those last two on that page for me. All right, guys, so welcome back. Hopefully, when you guys looked at this one, it was similar to like number 4, in which I know one arc and one angle, and I'm trying to figure out what CDE is. So I'm going to make that X. So I know the sum of those two arcs is going to equal, half of those sums of those two arcs is going to equal 128. When I solved for X, I got it to be 183. Now in this one, I know I'm trying to figure out what QT is, which is this arc right here. I know half of this and this is going to equal this angle. Now, what I had to do is I had to kind of backtrack here. I know that 79 degrees is this angle. So if I look at this one, that's going to be 101. So I'm going to solve for x by just taking 1/2 of x plus 95 equal 101. It's just similar to what we did previously. We multiplied both sides by 2, and I got x to be 107. So thank you guys for watching this. We're going to look at those two other angle relationships in the next